باب الكرم والجود والإنفاق في وجوه الخير ثقة بالله تعالى. Magnanimity, sharafat, nobility, sakhawat, spending in the path of Allah and in various channels of good whilst putting trust in Allah. قال الله تعالى وما أنفقتم من شيء فهو يخلفه. And whatever good you spend, then He will replace it. أخلف يخلف means replace. Allah will replace. Khalifa means deputy. Allah will bring His deputy. وما تنفقوا من خير فلأنفسكم وما تنفقون إلا ابتغاء وجه الله وما تنفقوا من خير يوفى إليكم وأنتم لا تظلمون. And whatever khair you spend, then it is for your own good. And you do not spend but seeking the pleasure of Allah. And whatever you spend of khair, good, will be fully repaid to you and you will not be wronged. तर्जुमा समझ में आ गया? وما تنفقوا من خير فإن الله به عليم. Whatever you spend of good, then indeed Allah is fully knowing of it. Muhashi says, Qazi Iyaz Maliki in Shifa wrote that Karam, Jood, Sakha, Samahat have meanings which are very close to one another. Some ulama differentiated by saying Karam is spending with wholeheartedness in places where يعظم خطره ونفعه, where the benefit and risks are high. And they call it hurriyat as well. And samahat is to stay away from places where a person might be blamed for not spending. And sakhawat is to spend with ease. And it's also called jood, and it is the opposite of stinginess. This is a bit of difference in the wordings. Now we go on to the hadith. وعن ابن مسعود رضي الله تعالى عنه أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا حسد إلا في اثنتين رجل آتاه الله مالا فسلطه على هلكته في الحق ورجل آتاه الله حكمة فهو يقضي بها ويعلمها. No jealousy except in two: a man whom Allah gave wealth and appointed him upon its destruction in truth, and a man whom Allah gave hikmat and he judges by it and he teaches it. We've read this hadith before as well, if you remember. La hasada could have one of two meanings. Number one meaning is hasad means ghibta, rashk, envy, not jealousy. What is the difference between ghibta and hasad? Hasad is tamannae zawale ni'mati ghair, to wish that someone's ni'mat is taken away from him. He no longer has it. That's hasad. गाड़ी बहुत अच्छी है, अल्लाह करे एक्सीडेंट हो जाए, नऊज़ बिल्लाह, ये हसद है. ये कुरान बहुत अच्छा पढ़ता है, अल्लाह करे ये कुरान भूल जाए, नऊज़ बिल्लाह, ये हसद है. इसका जॉब बहुत अच्छा है, अल्लाह करे इसका जॉब चला जाए. ये बहुत खूबसूरत है, अल्लाह करे ये बदसूरत हो जाए. ये हसद है. और ग़ीबता ये है कि तमन्नाए मिसले नेमत गैर, you wish for the ni'mat similar to someone else's ni'mat, that he keeps his ni'mat but I get same as well. So this is allowed because you're not wishing for that ni'mat to be taken away from him. You're giving him dua barakat, Allah barakat de, Allah give you more, Allah increase, but you wish that you get it as well. This is fi nafsihi, is allowed. Then if it's about akhirat, it's mahmud. If it's about dunya, then it's not praiseworthy or mahmud. It's jaiz, but not mahmud. So if it's akhirat, like for example, Hafiz, Alim, I wish I was Hafiz, I could read Quran like him. I wish I was Alim, I wish I could do that. Then this is good, because in akhirat you should envy others and try and be like them. But in dunya, I wish I had same job, I wish I had so much money, I wish I had similar car. तो ये जायज़ है लेकिन महमूद नहीं है, क्योंकि इससे फिर अपने अंदर थोड़ी सी लालच पैदा होती है। भाई बी कंटेंट, कनाअत करो अपने ऊपर। खैर, तो sometimes one word is used for the other. So over here, la hasada means la ghibtada. Because of a little bit of similarity, they use one word for the other. So maybe Huzur Akram sallallahu alayhi wasallam said la hasada, but he meant la ghibtada. Number two, this jumla is qaziyya shartiyya, meaning in kana al hasadu jaizan fafi isnatayn. If hasad was allowed, then it would be allowed in these two, but it's not allowed in these two either. So that could be taken into account as well. Rajulin and Rajulun both zabt are sahih. If it's Rajulin, then it's connected to fi ithnatayni, and fi harfi jar is doing amal on it. Okay. If it's Rajulun, then it's mubtada. So jumla will finish on ithnatayni, and Rajulun is new jumla, and Rajulun atahu Allahu malan is mubtada khabar. Fasallatahu, sallata means appoint. Ala halakatihi, destroy it. In haq, meaning he spends so much that it appears like he's destroying his money. He's not looking after it. क्योंकि बहुत सखावत करता है, सारा पैसा निकाल देता है, इधर दिया उधर दिया उधर दिया, इधर खर्च किया उधर खर्च किया, इसको दिया, जहां कोई खर्च करने का रास्ता मिला वहां खर्च किया। वो अपने लिए स्टोरेज नहीं करता है, सेविंग नहीं करता है, खर्च करता रहता है। तो ऐसा लगता है जैसे ये अपना माल हलाक कर रहा है। तो नंबर वन, इतना मतलब बहुत सखी है, बहुत सखी है, बहुत सखी है। तो मौलाना अब्दुल्ला कापोद्रवी का मैंने सुनाया था। हजरत मौलाना अब्दुल्ला कापोद्रवी साहब, he was once in Canada with us. I was doing Ramzan, and Hazrat Maulana was doing dars of Fazail Sadqat. Dars. He would read and explain, read little bit, explain. So this chapter was about sakhawat and the hadith about spending here and there. So he mentioned this story of his own. He said, once I was in Makkah Mukarramah, and I was going towards Haram. I thought, there's time left for Maghrib. Let me see this bookshop. So he was looking for the bookshop, and he saw this, man with nice clothes and appearance, and he said, "Can you tell me where Al Maktabatu Tijariya is, please?" And he said, "Yeah, Maktabatu Tijariya. You go straight left on top of the hill, and it's on the right there." But then he said, "What are you going to do in Maktabatu Tijariya now? You come with me, we'll do iftar together. Iftar time is closed. It's after Asar anyway. You can go at night later on." So Hazrat Maulana said, I thought, okay, I'll do that. I said, all right. So he took me with him. So I started walking with him. Now what do I see? He puts his hand in the pocket, takes money out and gives to this fakir. Takes money out, this fakir, this fakir. Throughout the whole route to Haram, he was giving money out. Wherever he sees someone, poor person, he gives him paisa. इधर दे रहा, उधर दे रहा, इधर दे रहा, उधर दे रहा. मैं कहा, वो बहुत बड़ा सखी लग रहा है. Khair, we went, and he took me to his dastarkhan, like in Makkah they have, and he said, "Sit here, Maulana Sahib." So I sat, I started reading my Hizbul Azam, duas and everything. Now, dastarkhan was spread, and khajur and zamzam and qahwa and everything came. And then he said to me, after Maghrib, you have to eat with us. I said, no, I have to go home and eat with you. He said, no. Today you must eat with me. So I said, okay, we'll see. So we prayed our Maghrib. And then I prayed my Sunnah and my Awabin, and everybody was gone. So I thought that they're gone now. Maybe chutti ho gayi. I'll go home. But when I turned around, there was someone behind me waiting for me. And he said, Sheikh told me to take you with him. I said, no, you go home. I'm going. La, ya Sheikh, if I go without you, I'll be slaughtered. I can't go without you. You have to come with me. So I went. So he took me to Marwan, there's a hotel, and on the second, third floor was large dining hall, and there was long dastarkhan and lots of people there, and the Sheikh was there, and he was feeding everyone. Oh, mashallah, marhaba, Sheikh, and he sat me down, and he fed me, ye bhi khao, bahut khilaya. Khair, फिर मैंने कहा बस I have to go now to be prepare for Isha. So I asked someone that who's this man, and they said he's the owner of Al Rajihi Bank. And he's sakhawat to give here and there, here and there. This is ala halakati fil haq. This is infaq here, infaq there. This hadith will come. So, فَسَلَّتَهُ عَلَى هَلَكَتِهِ فِي الْحَقِّ. He appointed him, sallata musallat karna, or dal dena. And rajulun atahullahu hikmatan, hikmatan, wisdom. Okay, and over here hikmat means ilm, because in another hadith, rajulun atahullahu ilman. This is why فَهُوَ يَقْضِي بِهَا وَيُعَلِّمُهَا. He is judging with that hikmat and he is teaching it to other people as well. So you can envy these two, but you can't envy anybody else, right? Because these two things are good, right? Being sakhi and generous, and being an muallim and ustad and teacher and spreading your ilm to others. This is something that we should envy and we should aim for. ومعناه ينبغي ألا يغبط أحد إلا على إحدى هاتين الخصلتين. The meaning is that we should not envy and do rashk on anyone except one of these two khisal and habits. وعنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أيكم مال وارثه أحب إليه من مالي قالوا يا رسول الله ما منا أحد إلا ماله أحب إليه قال فإن ماله ما قدم ومال وارثه ما أخر. Who is it that his warith mal is more beloved to him than his own mal? Like my warith is my son Maulana Safwan. So do I like his money more or do I like my money more? His money is his, उसको मुबारक, उसका जॉब है, वो खाता है पीता है, अपने बच्चों को लुक आफ्टर करता है, मुझे उसके पैसे से क्या लेना देना? कभी हम उससे एक पैसा भी नहीं मांगा, हमको नहीं चाहिए उसका पैसा उसको मुबारक, हमारा पैसा हमको मुबारक. So who is there that likes the mal of his waris more than his own mal? And they said, Ya Rasulullah, no one among us, but his mal is more beloved to him. And he replied, well, his mal is what he sent forth ahead of him, and the mal of his waris is what he leaves behind after him. So if you leave behind millions, it's not yours, it's your inheritors. They're going to chill out, they're going to buy Ferraris and waste it, and you will have to give hisab where you earned it from. कहाँ से खरीदा था? तो हिसाब आपको देना है और मजा वो उड़ाएंगे. इसलिए अपना माल जो है आगे भेजो. कहाँ भेजो? अल्लाह की बैंक में जमा कराओ, खर्च करो, सखावत करो, spend, because whatever you spend and you send forth is yours. Otherwise, if you store it, save it, leave it behind, it's not yours, it's your warises. चलिए, وعن ابن حاتم رضي الله تعالى عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال اتقوا النار ولو بشق تمرة. Stay away from the fire, even if it's by half a date. By half a date, meaning by giving someone half a date. Because sadaqah protects you from the fire of Jahannam. So half a date sadaqah will also save you from the fire of Jahannam. So save yourselves, protect yourselves. But how do you protect yourself? By doing good amal salihah. And amal salihah include namaz, roza, zakat, hajj, tilawah, zikr, fikr. Sadaqah khairat is highly effective in protecting you from the azab and the wrath and ghazab of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Jahannam is a place of Allah's ghazab. So sadaqah will protect you from that place where Allah's ghazab and anger is.
So is it like sharing? Is that
Sharing. It means, sorry, I forgot to explain that. It means that you're so poor that you only got one date. And someone comes to ask you, please help me. Now you could either, eat that date and say, I'm sorry, I haven't got anything. But Huzur said, no problem, if you're hungry, then make it into two pieces and eat half and give the other half to that person. So sadaqah is not only for the rich, it's for the poor as well. Right? Even if you could save yourself by giving just half a day, not even one full day, half day, then save yourselves with that. चलिए. وعن جابر رضي الله عنه قال ما سئل رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم شيئا قط فقال لا. Huzur was never asked of anything and he said la. This never happened. Whenever he was asked anything, he would give. So Sakhi. This is why someone said, ما قال لا قط إلا في تشهده لولا التشهد كانت لاؤه نعم. He never said La except in Kalmah Shahadat, Ashadu an La ilaha illallah. If there was no Kalmah Shahadat, then his La would be Naam. Because La would never come out of his lips. Right? So, Huzur never said La. Now, La over here means La u'tika. What does La mean? La u'tika. Because there were instances where he had to say La ajidu, which is in the Quran. قلت لا أجد ما أحملكم عليه تولوا وأعينهم تفيض من الدمع حزنا ألا يجدوا ما ينفقون. At the end of 10th Sipara, the last page, right? So that's happened, but La u'tika, I'm not going to give you, that never happened. समझ में आ गया? तो ये, in fact, we can claim that Huzur is the most Sahi person to have set foot on the face of this earth. How? Hatim Tai used to do sakhawat with what he had. If he didn't have it, he said, I'm sorry. But Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam's life, we see instances where he did sakhawat even though he didn't have it. The hadith in Sahih Bukhari comes, a person came, said, Ya Rasulullah, can you please help me? And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, well, at this moment I don't have anything, but you go to the market to so and so person and tell him to give you so much on my name as a loan debt for me. When something comes to me, I'll pay that debt off. Now Hazrat Umar was there. Hazrat Umar said, Rasulullah, what are you doing? Allah has not told you to do this. If you don't have, then say, I don't have it. And Huzur cringed. Another Sahabi noticed that. And he said, Bala ya Rasulullah, anfiq, wala takhsha min dil arshi iqlala. Why not, Ya Rasulullah? Spend. Don't fear that the Lord of the Arsh will become poor. And Huzur started smiling. I know happiness came on his face. And he said, yes, you've given me the right instruction. So nobody in the world would do this. But Nabi Pak Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did. That's why we say Nabi Pak Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is the greatest Sakhi. Even more Sakhi than Hatim Tai. Hatim Tai comes nowhere closer to Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. وعن ابي هريره رضي الله تعالى عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ما من يوم يصبح العباد فيه الا ملكان ينزلان فيقول احدهما اللهم اعط منفقا خلفا ويقول الاخر اللهم اعط ممسكا تلفا. There is no day in which people get up in the morning, but two angels descend. One of them says, "O Allah, give the Sakhi replacement," and the other one says, "O Allah, give the stingy destruction." Okay, every day two angels come down. There are various announcements which are made. This is one of the announcements. So, for example, announcement is made, "O Ibn Adam, do whatever you can in this day because this day is not going to come back in your life." One of the announcements. Another announcement is mentioned over here. That, "O Allah, give munfiq khalaf." Munfiq means sakhi, spender, the one who spends in your path. Anfaqa yunfiqu infaqan. Khalaf means replacement. And mumsikan talafan, mumsik, amsaka yumsiku imsakan means to hold back, withhold. The one who holds back his wealth, then give him destruction, destroy his wealth. وعنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال الله تعالى أنفق ينفق عليك. Spend and you will be spent upon. If you spend, Allah will spend on you. وعن عبد الله بن عمرو بن العاص رضي الله عنه أن رجلا سأل رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أي الإسلام خير قال تطعم الطعام وتقرأ السلام على من عرفت ومن لم تعرف. A man asked Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam which Islam is best, meaning which practice and amal of Islam is best. Amali Islam. And he replied, feeding the food and saying salam to those whom you recognize and those whom you do not recognize. Tut'imut ta'am, meaning you are hospitable and sakhi, mehman nawaz, So being mehman nawaz and feeding food to people, doing mehman nawazi, and saying salam to those whom you recognize and to those whom you do not recognize. In one hadith, it is among the alamat of Qiyamah that people will only do salam to their friends whom they recognize. Others, they'll just walk past without saying salam. So, being humble, nice, and on good terms with everyone, whether you know them or you don't know them, you say salam to them. Provided they're Muslims. If they're not Muslims or you have doubt that there is a Muslim or non-Muslim, then you can remain quiet. But if you can maybe greet them in other ways, like hello, how are you, good morning, right? अब तो आजकल तो nobody wants to greet anyone, right? और कभी sometimes we are passing by, पहले तो घोड़े हम गुड मॉर्निंग, गुड आफ्टरनून, गुड इवनिंग, हाउ आर यू, बातें करते हैं, तो कोई बात ही नहीं करता. हम किसी को गुड मॉर्निंग, गुड इवनिंग, गुड आफ्टरनून कहे तो वो हमारा मुंह देखता है, इसने मुझे क्यों गुड मॉर्निंग कहा. वो हकीम अफलातून जो है कहीं जा रहे थे, तो रास्ते में एक मजनून मिल गया, तो मजनून ने उसको सलाम किया, अस्सलाम वालेकुम. तो हकीम अफलातून ने जवाब तो नहीं दिया, लेकिन घर आकर जुनून की दवाई खाई. किसी ने पूछा ये क्यों, कहा कि पागल ने मुझे सलाम क्यों किया, वो मुझे पागल समझता है, तो उसने मुझको अपनी कम्युनिटी में समझा इसलिए मुझे सलाम किया, तो जुनून की दवा खाई इसने. तो आजकल तो सारी दुनिया पागल हो गई है, कोई किसी को ना सलाम करता है ना गुड मॉर्निंग कहता है, कोई कहे तो शक जाता है कि क्यों सलाम किया मुझको. وعنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم 40 خصلة أعلاها منيحة العنز ما من عامل يعمل بخصلة منها رجاء ثوابها وتصديق موعودها إلا أدخله الله بها الجنة. 40 khaslats, actions, deeds. The loftiest of them is gifting a goat to someone for drinking milk. No actor acts upon any of those deeds with the hope of thawab and whilst confirming the promises made by Allah, but Allah will admit him with it in Jannah. 40 अमाल ऐसे हैं जिनमें सबसे ऊंचा अमल ये बकरी दूध पीने के लिए बख्शिश देना है. हो गया ना. मनीहा, did I explain मनीहा before? Manaha yamnahu minhatan means bakshish dena. But then maniha is used for such an animal. You don't give the animal to the person completely, fully 100%. It remains in your milk, malik. You are malik of it, but you give them for drinking milk. As long as this goat or this cow is giving milk, you keep it. You give it its chara and fodder and look after it, milk it. When its milk stops, then you give it back to me. Because animals, after giving baby, they give milk for some time. And then after some time, the milk stops. So he said, I own it, you don't own it, but drink the milk, and then you give it back to me when the milk stops, and I'll give you another one. This is maniha. Because in Medina Munawwara, there were rich people and there were poor people as well. So Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam encouraged the rich to do this. कैसे दूध पीने के लिए बकरी किसी को दे दो कि वो बेचारे दूध पीते रहें, उनको रोजाना का सुबह शाम का दूध मिल जाए और आपका कुछ बिगड़ेगा नहीं. Because if you have plenty of bakris or plenty of cows, what are you going to do? Business. You're going to take that milk out and sell it in the market. You're going to make money. But over here, you don't make money. You are sakhi, you are generous, you give it to people to drink that milk. So this is one of the best khaslats. Huzur said, A'laha, the loftiest khaslat and action of Islam is this, that you give this to someone. This shows your magnanimity and generosity and your open-heartedness. And what are these khisal? Bukhari's Imam Nawawi said, وَقَدْ سَبَقَ بَيَانُ هَذَا الْحَدِيثِ فِي بَابِ بَيَانِ كَثْرَةِ طُرُقِ الْخَيْرِ. आगे चलो. وعن ابي امامه الصدي بن عجلان رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ابن ادم انك ان تبذل الفضل خير لك وان تمسكه شر لك ولا تلام على كفاف وابدا بمن تعول واليد العليا خير من اليد السفلى. Son of Adam, your spending of excess is better for you, and your withholding it is bad for you, and you will not be blamed on just enough. Start with those for whom you are responsible, and the upper hand is better than the lower hand. أن تبذل الفضل بذل يبذل بذلا means to spend خرج करना, and al-fadl means extra, excess, what is beyond your need, what you do not desperately need at the moment, which is additional to your needs. Spending it is better for you, and holding it back is bad for you. ولا تلاموا لام يلوم لوما means malamat karna, to blame. You will not be blamed from Shariat. Shariat will not hold you to a task and blame you for kafaf. Kafaf means just enough, holding back which is for your needs and which is just enough for you, because you have to pay off the bills, you have to, various things, and suddenly something comes, so you hold back a little bit, that अचानक कोई प्रॉब्लम आ जाए तो हमारे पास कुछ पैसे हैं खर्चा कर सकें उसे, उसमें हर्ज नहीं है. लेकिन जो मिलियन पड़े हुए हैं, कुछ काम नहीं दे रहे हैं, ऐसे ही बैंक में सड़ रहे हैं, बैंक उसके इंटरेस्ट खा रहा है, तो उसको खर्च कर देना बेहतर है बजाय उसको पकड़े रखने के. And yadul wabda biman ta'ul, charity begins at home. Ala ya'ulu means kafala yakfulu kafalatan, to start with those for whom you are kafil, and you are responsible, meaning your wife and your minor children, young children, nabaligh children who are not married, who are dependent on you, and maybe other your slaves or your close relatives, your parents who are not well off and who need your help, and your animals, you need to feed them. So if you've got cow and goat, then you have to bring fodder for them, spend in buying that fodder for them. Don't keep your animals hungry. So start with those for whom you are responsible. Spend on them first and then spend outside. Charity begins at home. And al yadul ulya, the one which spends, is better than yadul sufla, the one which begs. Anas radiyallahu anhu reports, ما سئل رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم عن الإسلام شيئا إلا أعطاه ولقد جاءه رجل فأعطاه غنما بين جبلين فرجع إلى قومه فقال يا قوم أسلموا فإن محمدا يعطي عطاء من لا يخشى الفقر وإن كان الرجل ليسلم ما يريد إلا الدنيا فما يلبث إلا يسير حتى يكون الإسلام أحب إليه من الدنيا وما عليها. Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam was not asked anything upon Islam, but he gave it, meaning by a man who was a Muslim and due to Islam or based on Islam. A person is embracing Islam and he needs some help, so he would help him to keep him steadfast and strong on Islam. And a man came to him and he gave him so many goats which filled the valley between two mountains. So he returned to his people and he said, "O people, embrace Islam because Muhammad gives so much that he is not scared of becoming poor." And indeed, a man would embrace Islam, he would not want anything but dunya, but he would within a few days, Islam would become more beloved to him than dunya and whatever is on the earth and dunya. Now you understand the meaning of alal Islam, right? Upon Islam, upon embracing Islam, he would be asked and he would give. A man came and asked him, Ghanaman bayna jabalain, asked him for something, and Huzur gave him so many goats which filled the valley between two mountains. Because at that time, some goats had come. So he said, take all these goats, or sare hi usko de diya. Take them. Now he went to his people and said, "Oh, people, embrace Islam. Muhammad gives so much that he does not fear poverty." That means he's not a king. Because if he was a king or a ruler, he would be scared of becoming poor. But he just gives and gives and gives. Now he took dalil from his sakhawat upon his nabuwat. That he's so much sakhi that only a nabi can be so generous. A king or a ruler or a rich person can never be so much generous. The other words are clear. وعن عمر رضي الله عنه قال قسم رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قسما فقلت يا رسول الله غير هؤلاء كانوا حق به منهم قال إنهم خيروني بين أن يسألوني بالفحش فأعطيهم أو يبخلوني ولست بباخل رواه مسلم. Nabi Pak sallallahu alayhi wasallam once distributed some wealth. I said, Ya Rasulullah, others were more deserving of this than them. Huzur said, these people gave me a choice between either they beg of me in a rude manner and I give them, or they call me stingy and I'm not going to be stingy. Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu says, Huzur distributed some money. I said, Ya Rasulullah, لغير هؤلاء. لغير lam is for ibtida. Albatta. इनके अलावा और लोग ज्यादा हकदार थे इसके, because they are more poor. These people are well off, they're not so well off. So it would have been better, nicer if you would have given them who are more deserving of it. So Huzur said, well, these people whom I have given, they gave me one of two choices. Right? They were begging of me in a rude manner, so I could give them, or if I don't give them, they'll go out and call me Bakhil, that Muhammad is stingy. And I don't want a bad name. I don't want to be called a stingy. So it's better to give them. So Nabi Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not keep anything for himself, and also he gave preference to these people because they begged of him. Sometimes you have to be diplomatic. You have to protect your honor. And they didn't. You know, one of the kings, Harun Rashid or Mahmud Rashid, a person came to him with some sandals. And he said, Amirul Mu'mineen, these are the sandals of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he said, oh, mashallah, mashallah. He took them, kissed them. And then he tell someone, bring some money, give him some hadiyah. And he gave him hadiyah and he went. So the wazir said, Amirul Mu'mineen, Nabi Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam ki to hawa bhi nahi logi hu in chappalon ko. These slippers are new. Huzur had never seen them. So why did you do this? He said, look, if I did not do that, he would have gone outside and made sure and noise among people that I showed him Huzur's sandals and he was disrespectful. So in order to silence him, I had to do that, give him a little bit money so he doesn't go out and blame me among the community and make noise. So sometimes you have to be diplomatic. Nabi Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us this diplomacy over here. That if I had deprived these people, they would have gone out and called me Bakhil, Bakhil, Bakhil. Ke Muhammad is Bakhil. I don't want that bad name. You have to protect your honor. So I gave them. Those people, I'll give them later on. No problem. They are mine. I know I can trust them. Right? बेचारे सूफी साफी हैं, नेक लोग हैं, उनको परवाह नहीं है पैसों की. लेकिन ये लोग ऐसे हैं, I have to give them. ये समझ में है. وعن جبير المطعم رضي الله عنه قال بينما هو يسير مع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم مقبله من حنين فعلق الاعراب يسالونه حتى اضطروه الى سمره فخطفت رداءه فوقف النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وقال اعطوني ردائي فلو كان لي عدد هذه العظاه نعما لقسمته بينكم ثم لا تجدوني بخيلا ولا كذابا ولا جبانا. Jubair ibn Mut'im radiallahu anhu says, whilst Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam was traveling when returning from Hunain, the Bedouins stuck to him, begging of him, until they forced him to a tree of thorns called Samura, Babul ka darakht. So, فَخَطِفَتْ رِدَاهُ, they pulled off his upper garment, chadar. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam stopped and he said, "A'tuni ridahi, give me my chadar." If I had camels equal to these thorns, I would have distributed them among you, then you would not find me stingy, nor liar, nor coward. Hunain, the battle of Hunain took place in the year 8 after Hijrah, Shawwal, after Fateh Makkah. The people of Hunain thought that Makkah people were weak, they couldn't defend Makkah, we're going to take Makkah back. So they came with all their warriors, soldiers, men, women, children, young, old, and with all their cattle, camels, and everything, and their gold and silver, and they left nothing back at home. Huzur got this intelligence that they are coming. So Huzur Akram Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam prepared army, and the tribe is called Hawazin, and this place where the battle took place is called Hunayn. So with the Qabila Hawazin, the battle took place in Maidan Hunayn. That's why it's called Ghazwa Hunayn. So in the beginning, there was a slight defeat. But then Nabi Pak Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was brave. He just kept on moving, and he called, announced, and everybody regrouped, and then Allah gave victory. Now lots of cattle, gold, silver, animals came. Nabi Pak Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam brought everything to Ji'irana, and then he waited there for a few days, and then he distributed everything. Now, some people, whilst after distributing everything, giving everything to people, to some people he gave 100 camels. One camel is so expensive, Huzur gave them 100 camels. Some leaders like Safwan ibn Umayyah and so, 3-4 leaders who were muwallafatul qulub, who had just embraced Islam. But Huzur gave them so much. So, some Bedouins, followed Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam after everything is distributed, and they are begging of Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So Huzur said, okay, everything is being given out. I'm taking it, we'll see. And they said, no, you have to give us. And they pulled his sheet, और वो ihram की चादर की तरह चादर जो है वो खींच ली उन्होंने. अब हुजूर का ऊपर का जिस्म खुल गया, छाती वगैरह. फिर पे मुझे चादर तो दो मुझको वापस, क्योंकि मैं चादर भाग में आई नीड टू कवर माय सेल्फ. और उसके बाद क्या फरमाया, लौ कान ली अददु हादिहि अल-इदाहि नअमन. नअम मींस camels, equal to hadhihi adad means amount, because a thorn tree has millions of thorns. So according to the amount of these thorns, if I had camels, because he was under the thorn tree, babul ka darakh, so I would have distributed among you, then you would not find me bakhil, kazzab and jaban. Bakhil, stingy, kazzab, liar who tells lies, nauzubillah, and jaban means buzdil, coward. Huzur was sakhi, he gave everything out. Imagine, he never took for himself. In fact, you know that incident, some youngsters from Ansar, they noticed that when Huzur was distributing the war booty, he gave lots to Muhajirin, but nothing to Ansar. So they said, when it's battle, then we are called, and when it's war booty, then others are given. लड़ाई के वक्त हमको पुकारते हैं और माल तकसीम करते वक्त दूसरों को देते हैं. तो हुजूर को ये बात पहुंच गई, किसी ने कह दिया कि हुजूर तो ऐसी बातें हो रही है. तो अच्छा, तो हुजूर called Ansar in one khayma, and he said, is there any non-Ansari here? And they said, no, there is no non-Ansari, no Muhajir, no others, no immigrants, migrants, only Ansar here. Huzur said, ma hadithun balaghani ankum, what is this rumor I'm hearing? And they said, Ya Rasulullah, amma zawu ra'yina falam yaqulu shay'an. Our elders with intelligence, they never said anything. Our youth, bichare kache, they did say something like this. And then Nabi Pak Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, okay, he gave some nasihat, and he said, look, I know you got so much favors upon me. You gave me refuge, you protected me, you supported me, you have so much ihsan on me. And they said, no, Ya Rasulullah, this is no ihsan. Allahu wa Rasuluhu amannu. Allahu wa Rasuluhu amannu. Your ihsan is much greater upon us. Nabi Pak Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, look, I give out all these to people, but this is camels and goats and money. Would you not be happy that people go back home with cattle and goat and sheep, and you go back home with Rasulullah? And I said, Rasulullah, we are happy with that. And he said, look, remember, Al-mahya mahyakum wal-mamatu mamatukum. The rest of my life will be spent with you, and I will die among you as well. Don't worry about this. This is money I give to people, I have to give to other people. But I have more love for you. And he said, Wallah, if it was not for hijrat, then I would have declared myself as Ansari. And he said, Ansaru shi'arun, nasu disarun. Ansar are my shi'ar, and other people are my disar. Shi'ar is the cloth which is closest to your body, and disar is the upper cloth, meaning you are my special people. I love you. You are my क्या कहते हैं, confidence. I trust you. And they were happy, and all that rumor was caught. So this is Huzur saying that, look, I don't want to be given these names. This is why I have to give these people. Anyway, وعن ابي هريره عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال من خسر من مال ما زاد الله عبدا بعفو الا عزا وما تواضع احد لله الا رفعه الله عز وجل. Sadaqah never reduces wealth, and Allah does not increase a person by maafi and pardoning except in honor and izzat. And no one humbles himself for the sake of Allah, but Allah elevates his rank. Ma naqasat sadaqatun min malin. If you give sadaqah, your mal will not reduce, your mal will increase. तजुर्बा है ये. सदका करो माल बढ़ेगा. लोग भाई सदका करने से तो माल नहीं खत्म होता है, माल खत्म हो जाता है. फरमाया नहीं, ये तुमको समझ में नहीं आता. अल्लाह के यहाँ मसला कुछ डिफरेंट ही है. If you give sadaqah in the path of Allah, Allah will increase your mal. Whereas on the other side, people take interest from people, and they feel that their interest is increasing, their mal is increasing. But Allah says no. Yamhaqullahu riba. Allah सूद को मिटाते हैं, खत्म करते हैं. तो सूद will wipe out your wealth. So don't indulge in interest. सदका दो, माल बढ़ेगा. और माफ करने से अल्लाह इज्जत में बढ़ाएंगे. जो आदमी सबको माफ कर देता है, उसकी इज्जत बढ़ती है. People sometimes annoy you, hurt you, they sometimes criticize you, say something bad about you, but even then you give them maafi. No problem. भाई उसका अमल उसके साथ, मेरा अमल मेरे साथ. हाफिज पटेल साहब, रहमतुल्लाह अलैह, some of the khadim said that Hafiz Sahab, one of his खूबी was that हाफिज साहब को किसी ने कितना बुरा कहा हो, तकलीफ दी हो, हर्ट किया हो फीलिंग्स को, but when he would come to Hafiz Sahab would call him closer. Hafiz Sahab would ask about him and inquire about, and feed him with his own hands. उसको लुकमा खिलाते, चाय पिलाते, अच्छा सलूक करते, जैसे उसने कुछ किया ही नहीं, as though he haven't said anything. So this used to soften that person down. So when you pardon people, ignore their bad behavior, then your izzat will increase. Your izzat won't decrease, increase. And also with tawazu, Allah will elevate you. Tawazu means humility, humbleness. To be humble in front of Allah. If you are humble for the sake of Allah, Allah will elevate you. चलिए, पढ़ना है कि बस करना? कितनी हदीसें बाकी हैं?
बहुत सारी हदीसें.
इस बाब में लंबी हदीस है.
जी बाब लंबी है, अभी 2 पेज रह गए.
एक हदीस पढ़ लो, लंबी हदीस है.
जी लंबी पढ़.
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम. وعن ابي كبشه عمر بن سعد الماري انه سمع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول ثلاثه اقسم عليهن واحدثكم حديثا فاحفظوه. 3 things I take qasam upon, an oath upon, and 1 hadith I'm going to narrate to you. So memorize it, understand it, learn it. ما نقص مال عبد من صدقة. This is under oath. Qasam. Qasam. A person's mal does not reduce by sadaqah. ولا ظلم عبد مظلمة صبر عليها إلا زاده الله عزا. A person is not treated unjustly with any injustice, and he remains patient upon it, but Allah increases his izzat. जुलिमा, जुल्म किया गया, किसी बंदे पर जुल्म नहीं होता, कोई भी जुल्म, फिर सब्र करे उस पर, अल्लाह उसकी इज्जत बढ़ाते हैं. वला फतह अब्दुन बाब मसअलतिन ला फतह अल्लाहु अलैहि बाब फ़क़रिन औ कलिमतन नहवहा. No person opens the door of begging, but Allah opens upon him the door of poverty. Don't beg. If you open the door of begging, then your faqr will keep on increasing. You will always remain faqir and keep begging from people. The door of faqr will never close upon you. Or he said a sentence similar to this. وَأُحَدِّثُكُمْ حَدِيثًا فَاحْفَظُوهُ. I'm going to tell you one hadith, one thing, memorize it and understand it, learn it. قال إنما الدنيا لأربعة نفرين. Dunya is for four people. عبد رزقه الله مالا وعلما فهو يتقي فيه ربه ويصل فيه رحمه ويعلم لله فيه حقا فهذا بأفضل المنازل. A person whom Allah has blessed with wealth and knowledge. He's got both things. He's maldar and he's alim. So mal and ilm both are given to him. So he fears his Rabb with regards to that mal, and he joins his relations with regards to it. And he knows Allah's haqq in it, in that mal, meaning haqqullah is zakat, sadqat, khairat, spending on relatives. So he spends masjid, madrasa. This is Allah's haqq in that wealth. So he, due to his knowledge, he spends that mal. فَهَذَا بِأَفْضَلِ الْمَنَازِلِ. So he is on the most virtuous status and position. وعبد رزقه الله علما ولم يرزقه مالا فهو صادق النية يقول لو أن لي مالا لعملت بعمل فلان فهو نيته فأجرهما سواء. And a person whom Allah has given ilm and knowledge, but He's not given him wealth. Now he is sadiqun niyat, true in his intention. He says, if I had mal, I would do deeds similar to the deeds of so and so. This is his intention and niyat. So both their reward will be similar. Okay, because niyatul mu'min khayrun min amalihi. Innamal a'malu bin niyat. Allah rewards you according to your niyat. Your intention is good, Allah will reward you for that. It is narrated that once in Bani Israel there was drought, famine. People were dying of hunger. So one person was passing by and he saw this sand dune, the color of which looked like flour, atta. So he said, oh, I wish I had flour, atta, equivalent to this sand dune. Then I would make rotis and chapatis and feed people and remove the hunger. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed to the Prophet of the time that tell that person that I've recorded in your Amal Nama the sawab of so much atta and making rotis and feeding people. Just by his niyat, Allah gave him that sawab. So this is the second person who's got ilm but he's not got mal, but his niyat is true and he is looking at that generous person and he is saying, the first person, that if I also had mal, because the first person had both mal and ilm, right? Like Sulaiman alayhi salam, Nabi, Atina Dawood wa Sulaiman ilma, and ilman on fadla. So Allah had given him both. Another place, Dawood minna fadla. So Allah, he makes that niyyat. Then فَهُوَ وَنِيَّتُهُ فَأَجْرُهُمَا سَوَاءٌ. Number 3, وَعَبْدٌ رَزَقَهُ اللَّهُ مَالًا وَلَمْ يَرْزُقْهُ عِلْمًا فَهُوَ يَخْبِطُ فِي مَالِهِ بِغَيْرِ عِلْمٍ لَا يَتَّقِي فِيهِ رَبَّهُ وَلَا يَصِلُ فِيهِ رَحِمَهُ وَلَا يَعْلَمُ لِلَّهِ فِيهِ حَقًّا فَهَذَا بِأَخْبَثِ الْمَنَازِلِ. A third person is whom Allah has given mal but not given him ilm. Ilm nahi hai usme, alim nahi. So he wanders around in his mal without any knowledge. Khabata yakhbidu, khabtan means रास्ता पता ना हो और इधर उधर चक्कर लगाए. जीपीएस नहीं है और लंदन में इधर उधर स्ट्रीटों में घूम रहा है. पहले जमाने में A to Z यूज करते थे हम. तो एक आदमी बोल्टन से लंदन गया लेकिन बेचारे का दिमाग चकरा गया. 4-5 घंटे घूम फिर के वापस आ गया. उसको मिला ही नहीं कहाँ जाना है उसको. तो 4-5 घंटे उसका टाइम भी वेस्ट हुआ, पेट्रोल भी वेस्ट हुआ और मकसद पे भी नहीं पहुंचा और वापस घर आया. इसको कहते हैं खबता, भटकना, or wander around aimlessly. So he's got mal, lots of mal, he's wealthy, he's millionaire, but he doesn't have any ilm deen, no knowledge. So he's wandering around, bhatak raha hai uske mal mein without any knowledge. Meaning, la yattaqi fihi rabbahu. He's got no taqwa. He does not fear his Rabb. Nor does he join in any relations with it. Nor does he recognize Allah's haqq in it. Okay, he doesn't spend. He's not got taqwa, meaning he's spending in haram, fuzul kharchis, haram stuff, haram food, haram drink, haram things, interest, gambling, jua, sharab, drugs. And la yasilu fi rahimahu, he doesn't give to his parents, grandparents, uncles, aunties, nephews, nieces, brothers, right? Right? For example, there's this wealthy person who's a property developer. He's got lots of houses, right? And his own brother is living in a rented house and बेचारा he is struggling to pay the rent. अब अगर वो उसको एक घर हदिया दे दे तो भाई का काम हो जाए ना, लेकिन उसको तौफीक नहीं मिलती है कि अपने भाई का हेल्प करे. वो बेचारा he is struggling, he has lost his job, he's got no money, he can't survive, and he says, well, it's not my problem, it's his problem. रियल किस्सा है. वो भाई बेचारा आया था हमारे पास. मैं कहा मैं क्या करूं यार, उसको कौन समझाए, तो पैसा वाला है, मालदार है, उसको हेल्प नहीं करना है. तो ला यसिलु फीही रहिमहु अन वला यअलमु लिल्लाहि फीही हक्कन, and he does not recognize Allah's haqq in it, meaning zakat, sadaqat, masjid, madrasa, good. فهذا بيخبث المنازل. This person is on the most khabith status, worst of statuses. وعبد لم يرزقه الله مالا ولا علما فهو يقول لو أن لي مالا لعملت فيه بعمل فلان فهو نيته فوزرهما سواء. A fourth person is whom Allah has not given any mal, wealth, nor any ilm. But he is envying the third one. He is saying, if I had mal, I would also act upon the person above, meaning all sharab, kabab, badmashi, gundagardi, and guna. Then he and his niyat, fahuwa niyatuhu, he has this intention, fawizruhuma sawa'un, their sin is equal and similar, they are both sinful with regards to it. पढ़ लो थोड़ा सा और. आयशा रज़ी अल्लाह अन्हा says अन्नहुम ज़बहू शातन फ़क़ाल नबी सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम मा बक़िय मिनहा, क्या बच गया? क़ालत मा बक़िय मिनहा इल्ला कतिफ़ुहा, only shoulder is left. क़ाल बक़िय कुल्लुहा ग़ैरु कतिफ़िहा, it's all left except for the shoulder, because we're going to eat it, finish, going to get thawab, no thawab for it. But the other which we give sadaqah, that's all left and we get thawab for it. Asma bint Abi Bakr Siddiq says, Huzur said to me, La tuki fayuki Allahu alayki. Do not tie your wealth, otherwise Allah will tie the thawab for you as well. Auka yuki ikaan means to tie a bag at the top. You know, like your JD sports bag when you buy shoes, it got string at the top, you pull the string and it's closed. That's auka yuki ikaan. Bandhana. Vikaun means bandhan. Bandhane ki rassi. The rope which with you tie some bag. So la tu ki bandho nahi. Varna Allah bhi tum par bandhenge. Don't tie your money. Don't store it and save it. Otherwise, Allah will save the thawab from you as well. Allah won't give you full thawab. وفي رواية أنفقي وانضحي ولا تحصي فيحصى عليك ولا توعي فيوعي الله عليك. Another riwayat said, spend and blow and give and do not count, otherwise Allah will count thawab upon you. Do not store, otherwise Allah will store thawab upon you. Anfiqi, infaq, spend. Infahi, nafaha yanfa'u, nafhan literally means phukna. So by phukna, huzur means spend, kharch karo. And indahi, nadaha literally means chirakna, to sprinkle. To sprinkle meaning give it out. And la tuhsi ihsa means to enumerate, to keep counting. चेकिंग बैंक बैलेंस एवरी डे, हाँ एवरी मंथ, हाँ बैंक बैलेंस बढ़ना चाहिए यार, अब इस हफ्ते बढ़ा नहीं है, घटा नहीं, बढ़ना चाहिए। न बढ़ने पर भी आदमी परेशान हो जाता है। इसको कहा गिनो नहीं, वरना अल्लाह भी सवाब गिन गिन कर रखेंगे। लातुई, और स्टोरेज मत करो। अवायुई के माना स्टोर करना, महफूज रखना। डोंट स्टोर, अदरवाइज अल्लाह विल स्टोर सवाब फॉर यू एज वेल। इनफही बिलहाई मुहमलत, वो बिमाना अनफिकी वकज़ालिका इनफही। चलो जी आगे बाद में पढ़ना, ठीक है। ये दो छोटी हदीसें हो गई। अल्लाह पाक कबूल फरमाए, अल्लाह हमें सखावत नसीब फरमाए, शराफत नसीब फरमाए, अल्लाह राजी है। सुभान अल्लाह बिहम्दी, सुभानक अल्लाहुम्मा व बिहम्दिक, अशहदु अन ला इलाहा इल्ला अंता, अस्तगफिरुका व अतूबु इलैक।